I mean, I appreciate he knows how to count down from 5 now. That's yay!
4,
you did it.
3,
had to learn.
Well, you don't really have to learn. That's something.
No, I kept hitting the brake marker at the wrong part.
Too late or too early?
Yes. It's just like
Thank you.
1, 2, 5, 3, 3. Yeah, sorry.
I totally get that. All right, we ready?
We are.
Have we counted down?
We have.
Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of Lemma Champ or Lucky Track Dog League you run, SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate. I'm actually wearing an SCCA shirt tonight. Anyway, we won't discriminate as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussion, tips, tricks, news and notes in the world of amateur endurance racing, and whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, and we're lucky enough, and Chrissy gives us just the tip, we're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mental.
And we are Everyone Racers. You are listening to a deuce and a quarter episode. Can I call it a four-holer? Is that also appropriate? No.
Nope. That's the Roadmaster.
I thought this was a four-holer too. Anyway, it is episode 225, also the Buick Electra 225, produced from 1960 to 76, covering 2 generations. The 75 model was the longest sedan ever built by General Motors at 223.4 inches long. That's long. Sir Mix-a-Lot, his Anaconda was not 223 inches long, but he immortalized the nameplate with his 1990 release, My Hoopty, as an ode to his battered 69 Buick Electra 225.
I just had to check. That's 4 inches longer than my Suburban.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, if you're not currently rolling in your Hoopty or your Suburban, check out the E1R bingo card. Link is in the show notes. If you get bingo, take a picture, send it to us.
What do you win?
You win
Fabulous swag.
Swag. We have show swag.
I have to get a way to mail it first. So I don't want to I don't want to give it
We're not going
to
to guarantee it yet. You know what I guarantee? I guarantee Mental has a story. Mental, what you working on?
Not a story. It's an explanation. As we discussed last week, Shout Engine is no more. It literally shut down while we were uploading last week's episode. Like it cracked over to, it was like 11:45 and they're like, close enough. They shut it down. We are now on Anchor FM. Now the link to that is in our show notes, but feedback we've gotten is there are several people who don't like having a player and they don't like streaming it. So they want to download our episodes and then play them later on their device. We have now fixed that. So if you go to our website, which we've had for a while, but we just didn't utilize, everyoneracers.com, you'll see a link to the new Anchor or to the new podcast IO page. Now, Jeff, do I have? I do. So we're going to click on this real quick.
Ooh, there's visual aids.
There are visual aids. So this is our website. Oh, all right. Why is it?
Yep.
There it is. Because
This
I
is
got to
a
click
great
share
website.
first.
Great
Wow.
website.
All right. So there's,
Now we can see this.
yeah, there's
I
our
see a blank screen.
website. I know. And you'll see here.
Even better website. So
I still don't see anything. Oh, there it is.
Is it actually
Oh.
not? Is it not showing up?
No,
Okay.
no, it's just turned on.
This is also really bad podcast, but that's okay.
So you'll see the Everyone Racers podcast, and then the second option in there, it will take you to our podcast.io page. And there you have the option of checking out all of our social medias, downloading our podcast, subscribing to our podcast, going onto our YouTube, or even just stream them straight from the website. So there.
Wow.
So fancy.
We are
So-
fancy.
Sure.
We've got it. We've updated the RSS feeds for almost everything except Google Podcast, who insists that I verify I'm the owner of the old RSS stream, which they can't do because that RSS stream doesn't exist anymore. I've got a trouble ticket filed with Google Podcast. But we're
That's
on-
interesting because mine is working. My Android is totally
Okay.
working.
All right. Well,
So-
then, yeah, there you have it. All right. Is it? And it's the new emblem.
The
And
new
a key
emblem.
way
yeah.
to find out if you're getting the new RSS feed is we have updated the show picture. So it will be
Yeah.
a picture of the four of us in front of the Mazda instead of the one that we took at Barber all those years ago. So that's how you'll know.
If
getting
you're
the new one.
hearing us now on your phone, you got the right feed because
Or they're watching us on
works.
YouTube because they couldn't hear it on
True.
the phone.
True,
Yeah.
true,
So
yeah.
there's all of that. Outside of that, the Mercedes finally died, or the Mercedes battery finally died. And it's
I was gonna say the Mercedes died.
Mercedes. The battery goes even with the auxiliary battery. That car is a brick. Won't go into neutral. Won't do anything. You got to manually unlock the trunk. The battery is almost 60 pounds.
Mhm.
Man.
I just replaced the one in our car recently, and it's sturdy.
I can't complain. 2 years in Vegas, where the life expectancy of a battery is like a year.
Also,
and I think
I never replaced that battery.
So yeah, so we're looking at probably original equipment. Although I know the
I
other
think
guy
it's
had it
battery number
serviced.
2 from
Is it a
CPO.
2007?
Yeah, 107,000 mile 14-year-old car. Well done, Mercedes. Got our pool pump replaced, and I've been sheetrocking again. And I got some more lighting installed.
Pool works
Nice.
now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, pool pump got the
Fantastic.
full. And it's remarkably quiet now. It doesn't make the clatter of a dying pump that the old one made for over a year.
Who knew?
Highly recommend Leslie's Pool Service if you need.
We talked about
Pool
them
service.
last week.
Yeah.
I think.
Nice of the pool pump to give you such ample warning for you to do nothing about it. So that's good.
Wasn't going to
Oh, well.
replace it till it died anyway. I'm glad it died in the winter. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it would have
Good
turned
call.
green in a day.
Yes. Okay.
Great.
Chrissy, what are you working on?
Oh, not much. We went to Boston this weekend. Chris is going to tell a better story about all of this. And this week, I've been cleaning out some closets for some stuff we've been selling a lot and some stuff to give away. But Chris, talk about what you're doing because it's more fun.
I did a few more things on the Civic, like nothing really worth talking about, like with stuff under the hood. 'Cause I'm getting ready to put the engine in. But we went out to my mom's house, and my mom is cleaning out the house, and I fully support this so that I don't have to do it later. And we took home a lot of toys that were mine from the 1980s. So I have
Car was
been-
so full that
to the
things
roof,
were falling out of the sides and
in the
it was
wagon. Yep.
full.
Oh, wow. I mean, because, dude, that's a
Awful.
Mercedes wagon. That's
Yeah, it's a big
Yeah.
car. Well, there's some stuff from the garage, and plus like the bags we brought up, but still an E-Class wagon holds a lot of stuff. So I've been cleaning, photographing, and listing on eBay all these old toys. So if anyone wants some 118 CL die-cast cars, some 80s Legos, some mask car transformer things.
Mask. Do you have the
Mask!
Camaro?
Oh,
The
it's in a
wings?
box right now. I just sold it. Yeah.
Oh,
the things that they become are worse than they
Yeah.
were before. Mask.
Right, I've
Mask,
got
if you can't
Somewhere
Transformers
in
afford
the
too.
Transformers.
Southwest or maybe Arizona.
Except the mask stuff is going for
No.
serious money.
Serious
I
money.
sold one car tonight. It's a Z31 300ZX that has wings, of course. And that was
why did you sell a 300Z?
because there was a Z31.
Oh,
Also,
Z31. That's
how
it.
much
It was-
did you make?
It was $70 for
Holy
this.
crap.
Sell that shit.
Right. Right.
Right?
go on.
I said
yeah.
we should be
I-
downstairs playing Mask. I don't
I
know
would,
how to do that, but
I
you
would
know.
submit to you that there is a show, like a gathering that celebrates that era of culture.
Yeah.
Perhaps
Who
we should
knew?
reach out to an expert.
Wouldn't know anything about that.
So some of the stuff is selling like as fast as I can put it up, even though I'm looking at sold listings and trying to say, all right, like this isn't primo stuff. It's not the best. Like I played with it. But
Somebody asked you how the tires were on the, I don't even remember.
On the
it's
Camaro,
Countach, yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
didn't set those on fire like I did all of my others, so they're
Yeah.
fine.
So anyway, it's the stuff is selling. Like it's
That's
great.
great.
All
I
this
would
eBay stuff
offer,
has worked.
they make that kind of stuff makes great bribes. If you're
Yeah.
looking to get a good bribe, especially
Especially if it's your car. If you have a Camaro and you
Mhm.
can give you the Mask Camaro, that's
but
cool.
I don't know a lemons judge who doesn't like that kind of stuff.
We'll see what sells. I still haven't even. I looked at the box of Transformers and went, okay, I'll deal with that later. And the Legos, I've got so many, like, and there's Technics and big, and I have the monorail, all this crap. I got to.
What's that name?
Monorail.
How's that
Yep.
go?
That's
Monorail.
mono means one, rail means rail.
Right. Look at what it did to Ogdenville. So I just got to start cleaning those up after this, but I got to get back to the Civic. I just wanted to kind of get the first round going, and it's going really well.
That's awesome. Do you have a link to your eBay names that we can put in the
No.
show notes if you're interested? Okay, we'll
I don't
dig it
think
up.
so.
All right.
Yeah.
Chrissy, send us a link to his eBay.
Well,
eBay stuff.
I don't know if you can
Things are
search
going-
eBay. You can probably search eBay by username. My eBay username that I've had for like 25 years now is James Bondo.
Nice.
Perfect. All right.
Nice.
We will have that in the show notes, folks.
Yes.
There's probably nothing left, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But there's more coming.
That
Great.
monorail kit really put Lego on the map.
Yeah. Absolutely. Jeff, what are you up to?
So I finished the painting project in my hallway upstairs. So, split level house. The main hallway is kind of like most of the house. And I did all the little stuff, like put all the switch plates back and all that kind of crap and cleaned up. My wife was like, kitchen back now, remove your crap. So I did all that. And I have a bit of a rant. Why is house wiring so stupid? Like
Your
it's-
house is wired extra stupid,
That's what I was
as
going
your
to say.
son knows. When the door
Oh.
handle electrocutes your son, that's how you know your house is wired poorly.
like as some electrician out there, some EE probably named Eric is gonna like yell at his radio when I say this, but why do they use solid wire in house wiring? That shit doesn't bend. It's terrible. Like I don't know. I hate wiring.
I will wire 12 houses before I'll wire a car.
Oh, I'm the opposite.
Car wiring drives me batty. I can't deal with it.
Maybe it's because my wiring is like I have like that shitty aluminum wiring, which is terrible
That is
in my
terrible.
house.
You're not supposed
but-
to use that anymore.
I know, but you can't get rid of it
That,
once you
yeah.
have it.
Yeah.
Well, you can at great expense. But here's the
Because
question.
I've been noticing the stuff I've been running my lights with, according to what's recommended, is that quasi flexible coax style.
That would be better. This
Mhm.
so this aluminum stuff, it like breaks. It's terrible. It's like imagine this. Alternating current will kill you. It's like way harder than anything in your car, and like you cover it with like a 37-cent piece of plastic, like right at the part that you touch all the time. And it's like, that'll kill you right there. One little slotted screws. Ooh, use the slotted screws. If you had slotted screws in your car, you would get rid of them all. I don't know. I'm end of rant. I'm done.
Slotted
Anyway.
screws. Yeah, that is kind of
Yeah.
stupid.
But that's what all electric stuff is. Anyway.
For the record, my house, we'll talk about houses later, but my house in Reno was built in the 20s with steel walls and has cloth covered wiring in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
excellent.
I love it. It's fine.
Uh,
What's the worst that could happen? You touch the wall and electrocute yourself? What's the worst that could happen?
yeah. It's not like that
Well,
stuff is going to kill you.
His son, when letting the dog out one time, he noticed his kid was putting a sock on his head. He's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, the door shocks me." What's the matter with you, kid? Apparently, for like months, the door had been shocking his son, and turns out, yeah, a wire had migrated down because
It's, yeah, like somebody had
he
put
dumber
in
than me
siding and put a wire.
wired the house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he was the only one who would let the dogs out without shoes on. So he's the only one that was touching the wet carpet at the same time. Anyway, hey, we should introduce the person who's talking. Normally when we say a new voice, we go, there's a new voice, but this one's not new. It's our old friend, Bradley Brownell, writer, biker, radwooder. You sent it house stuff. What are you working on?
Right now I'm working on recovering from COVID.
Saw
I've
that on
been
the Insta.
quarantined for 6 days and probably another 2 more. And I'm on the upswing. I'm feeling good. But yeah, caught that on Christmas dinner, basically. Went all the way across the country, left Reno. We're staying in Michigan with family, had Christmas dinner with family. And 2 days later, somebody that we had dinner with tested positive. And then 2 days after that, I tested positive.
Oh,
So
did the whole family get sick or just everybody tested positive?
3 of 5.
Oh,
Yeah. So I woke up with a sore throat and I was like, I think I'm just going to stay in bed today And then I tested later that day, and it was just a faint little red line. So luckily, it's been very mild. I haven't had more than like a head cold, but sore throat. That when you're getting the flu and you get like achy joints, I had that, just kind of swelling in the joints and stuff. But other than that, I've got both vaccines and booster, so I'm glad that it wasn't any worse because I'm asthmatic and extremely overweight. So that's
I wouldn't go extremely.
I need to lose a few pounds.
Well, we'll talk more about that in a minute.
Yeah. But what am I working on? Let's see. My 912 is currently at the shop. Needs a little bit of suspension work. I didn't have time to deal with it before I left town, so I dropped it off at a shop. They'll probably charge me way too much for it.
Do you get more or less?
He drives a Porsche.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do they charge you more or less?
A Porsche specialist shop.
Oh,
so
that's what I was going to say. Is it more or less because it's a 912? It's like, 911s, they're everywhere, but this,
same.
This part,
Yeah,
well,
suspension.
It's all suspension stuff, so it's all 911 stuff. They'll charge me 911 rates for that. So it apparently last time it went in for basically since I've owned the car, it's had a really bad issue of wearing the front left tire, and I've never been able to figure it out. I've had it aligned 20 times. I've changed wheels. I literally changed everything in the suspension. And I thought that I had it figured out. Like, I thought every time that I fixed something, I was like, this is going to fix it. This is going to fix it. This is going to fix it. And it never did. I've literally replaced everything but the steering rack, and the steering rack is fine. So, the last time I had it in for last time I had it in for an alignment, they were like, oh yeah, it aligned great. But turns out the upright is bent.
Oh.
So apparently when you're turning, it's the Ackerman's off and it's just scrubbing the inside of the. So yeah, it's just not great. So need to replace the uprights, and then hopefully that'll fix it. I guess we'll see.
Now this is a bit of a deep dive of internet humor, but it's because you took and you sold that 90-pound piece of lead that the Porsche engineers decided needed to be there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The 12-pound weight. No, that was in the back, so it wouldn't have affected that.
Yeah, the Mazda had one of those too. Right in the middle of the back subframe in the back is just this weight.
This one actually takes up the same space as a rear sway bar. So my 912E didn't have a rear sway bar.
Yeah. Because
it had this weight there. So I was like, well, if I want a sway bar, I bought a 911 sway bar, put it on, and it goes right through the transmission crossmember. And that's where the weight was in the bottom of the transmission crossmember. And because the flat 4 has vibrations that the flat 6 doesn't have, they added this little bit of weight to keep the vibration out of the cabin. I don't care about that. I was running it straight pipe for 3 years.
Drove it across the country that way.
Yeah,
I'm sure that sounded wonderful.
It did not. It has a muffler now. It sounds good. Kind of sounds like an old Subaru. It doesn't sound like a flat 4, like a Type 4 at all, which was interesting. But so and
so
then when I was
eagerly awaiting the bill, basically.
Yeah.
So,
and hopefully,
go ahead, finish. Sorry.
Hopefully that'll fix all of my issues with that car. It's still literally mechanically, it's brand new. I've rebuilt the motor. I've rebuilt all the suspension, rebuilt the trans, rebuilt the brake system. It's golden. Like, there's nothing else that could possibly go wrong with
it's
that car.
Still 50 years old. I'm just here to tell you, 50-year-olds, there's just things that go wrong with us.
Oh, sure. And also, like, aesthetically, it still looks like trash. Like, the paint's terrible. It's rusty. There's garbage everywhere. The interior is falling apart. It leaks like a sieve. But mechanically, it's brand new.
There was a 996 at the recent Sonoma race. We gave them organizer's choice that showed up.
Yes,
with a 1600
with an air-cooled Beetle motor.
Fantastic.
That was dope. That was really, really cool.
Excellent.
let's see. Other than that, I haven't really worked on much. Most of my stuff kind of just sits, but we cleaned up the house and moved out and rented it to a friend. And we're kind of nomadic right now.
Oh,
Because you were renting your house in Reno and then rented another house, and you also had basically Radwood headquarters or something. I was jealous because you had a video game.
Yeah. So we own the house. It's a duplex, and we rent the downstairs, and we were living upstairs, and now we're renting the upstairs to a friend.
Okay.
And then we were renting an office for Radwood, and we stopped that in the middle of the pandemic because we couldn't do shows and we weren't making any income, so there was no point in having an office. And so I moved everything to a storage unit temporarily, and it's kind of just stayed that way. So I moved everything, then I bought the ambulance. Oh God, now I'm getting into.
All right. Well, and we're gonna talk all about that when we get into the main topic time. Because
I owned an ambulance for a little while. We're definitely going to talk about that.
Yeah. It's good. I love my ambulance. But anyway, yeah. So I'm not really working on a lot. I'm working on. We're staying in Michigan for like a month. My parents have a cabin.
Picked the perfect time of the year.
My parents have a cabin up north, and there's no internet, there's no cell phone reception, no nothing. So we're going to take 9 days, go up there and just like detox, because I have been working too hard for 10 years and I need to like take a vacation. I don't think I've had more than 2 days off in a row in God, maybe 7 or 8 years.
That's way too long.
Yeah.
Not including the time where your work put you in the hospital in England. Other than that, you haven't.
Well, sure, yeah.
That was a nice little break.
Yeah, come on.
Cheerio.
Yeah, that was nice.
All you had to do was almost die on an airplane.
Yeah,
Right,
you're fine.
right.
You're fine. Well,
so yeah, and then after that, we'll spend some time in Cleveland with some friends down there, and kind of figure out what we're gonna do with our lives. There's a lot of things that I can't really talk about right now, but good things, all good things.
Cleveland is a good place to go to make you question a lot of your decisions.
I lived there for 2 years. I know that fact. But one of my Radwood co-founders, he moved there. He was a San Francisco Bay Area guy, so he just moved there because he grew up there, and land is incredibly cheap, and he bought a house basically cash.
Yeah.
yeah, from the Bay Area to Cleveland, that's a bit of a change.
He was renting
places.
for like $4,000 a month, and he's like, "Why am I doing this? This is terrible." So, and then when I lived there, one of the guys that was in my wedding, he still lives there, and I'm gonna go visit them, and then might spend the summer like cruising beaches and getting drunk. You know, we'll see.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like where this is going. All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. News and notes time. Who's got something?
We previously mentioned the Mustang Mach-E was seeing use as a police vehicle in the UK. It would appear that NYPD can be accounted among other users there. According to the Detroit Free Press report, New York has purchased 184 Mustang Mach-E GTs for use in their police department, sheriff's office, CR Department of Corrections, Parks and Rec, you name it. You get a Mustang. even though it's not a
Parks and
Mustang.
Rec. Hey,
Yeah.
I used to be on my Parks and Rec.
And you did not have an
did
electric
not.
vehicle that's
I
not a
did-
Mustang.
I
They
did
definitely
not.
needed to be GTs for the
Oh, of
Parks
course.
and Rec.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta-
Because that's important.
You got to get those 450 horsepower ones.
Yeah.
Yes. To get from one park to the other.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So apparently New York City has a goal of an all-electric fleet by 2035. Mach-E is the first EV to pass the testing regimen of the Michigan State Police, who, if you ever really get bored, you can read their testing reports. It's actually kind of
They're
interesting.
hilarious.
Yeah, they're good. They test acceleration, braking, high-speed pursuit, emergency handling, all that stuff. We got a link to the Haggerty article in our show notes.
Well, that's fun. For the first time ever, the number one automaker in the United States is in an American company. Toyota sold 2.3 million cars here last year, about 100,000 more than General Motors. As Caleb Jacobs from The Drive tells us, taking 2021 at face value would be a mistake. Just look at all the uncontrollable variables that have car companies rethinking just-in-time manufacturing. But he reiterates the advantage Toyota had with the stockpile of chips and its manufacturing preparedness. Toyota has no intention of this being a one-time incident. Given the volatility we are seeing in the new car market, anything can happen. You can read more.
Yeah. Today in absentia, because General Motors did not come to Las Vegas or the Consumer Electronics Show, but they did unveil the new Silverado electric truck. Now, they announced this in April, and it's built on the same, I'm going to goof this up, Ultium.
Nope, that's right.
Okay, Ultium style chassis, same one they're using for the Hummer, the truck, and the SUV. Most notable feature is they've got that avalanche style bed. They're calling
I'm so excited.
the multi-flex mid-gate, and it's also using that GM multi-flex tailgate, and you get basically 10 feet of bed space, which is impressive. Now, naturally, it's got a frunk. Some of the other cool stuff on there, 17-inch multi-function screen like the Mercedes S-Class goes all the way across. It's got a glass roof, adaptive all-wheel air ride, all-wheel drive, four-wheel steering, not quite as crabby as the Hummer, but darn close. GM Super Cruise, their driving assistant. Here are the numbers now. The WT, aka work truck, 510 horsepower, 650 foot-pounds, 1,200 pounds in the bed, and can tow 8K. The RST, which is the one that they showed at the launch, and we've got a link to that in our notes. 664 horsepower, 780 foot-pounds, 1,300 pounds in the bed, and 10,000 pound towing capacity, and what they call the wide open watts mode. And I am not making this up, or they abbreviate it WOW.
Wow. That's terrible.
You know what the Hummer one is, right? They have watts to freedom, WTF mode.
WTF, great.
Yeah.
All right, WTF. I'm going to give you props there. All right, yeah. Now, they've got a promise of an upgraded work truck that's coming that's going to be capable of towing 20,000 pounds. And they said that the RST can get to 60 in under 4.5 seconds. The work truck starts at about 39,000, but the RST starts at about, or goes all the way up to 105. And we do have a link to GM's infuriating webpage, which is over animated and you can't get anything to load correctly. Best just to Google Silverado EV and check out somebody else's coverage, because all of the major outlets have it.
Well, we're talking EVs and EVs and EVs. I wonder why this week. But Ford, who
actually
is
coincidence,
right? Ford has been playing catch up to GM forever. And Road and Track, Fred Smith has recently said that the Ford is now promising to build F-150 Lightnings, 150,000 units per year. They also added that they plan to scale Mustang Mach-E production to 200,000 units per year by 2023. The challenge is to meet the current 200,000 reservations for the Lightnings and to avoid the well-known dealer markup that the Bronco had. Hopefully, they'll actually deliver a car that functions and doesn't have roof problems like the Bronco had.
Let's slow in.
How long? I think like the first Bronco was what, like 8 months late? Good job, Ford. But anyway, Ford claims that over 3/4 of the EV truck reservations are from customers new to Ford. And so that's why they're, I don't know, whatever. That's exciting news. But
Screw this up and it'll be
Conquest
the last time they
is
buy a
big
Ford.
on that.
Yeah.
That's huge. Conquest numbers, 75%. That's big.
But is it real?
I mean, reservations mean nothing.
Yeah, it's vapor. They're like, don't believe it until they put the money down. Anyway, I have more interesting news, and I am going to have to share my screen for this. Also, at the CES show, BMW. This has only hit the Twitter storm a couple of hours ago.
It was on the morning news here, actually.
Oh, was it? Showed a color. Well, that was a couple hours ago. You're like 4 hours behind me. Showed a color changing car. It's right. They showed a color changing car. Has anyone seen this other than Mental and I?
I have.
All right, here we're gonna share the screen here. I don't know if it's I don't know if this actually counts as color changing because it's just black and white, but this is a real video shot off of a real. Oh, Chrissy is pretty interested in that.
Oh, that's changing colors.
It's pretty fantastic, right?
It's
if you have not seen
cool.
this, go to Twitter, go to our YouTube and check this out. It's pretty interesting. So it uses the same technology, like the electronic ink technology that like an e-reader uses. So it's interesting. I don't know how they're going to do that with like other colors.
It doesn't need to be. It's
pretty cool.
Like it's the first kind that's like actually changing colors. So if you only
Nobody
get
buys
black,
color
white,
cars anymore anyway.
right?
It's true.
I
Right.
think nobody. I think it's because nobody sells colored cars. Because
No, you're right.
Where I live, the wrap industry is, that's how you make something cool because nobody wants to do an interesting color in a car. But if you look at every truly collectible odd car from the 80s, it's always the weird colors that now, the sunburst yellow Miatas and whatnot.
Yep.
Because sunburst yellow Miatas are cool.
Facts.
Good
Anyway.
colors are cool.
Yeah. It's absolutely. Who's got something about racing junk?
I
Chris
do.
does.
Last year, we got to see the Racing Junk Borowski 700 horsepower LS engine they're giving away. But another contest that slips under the radar because it's not as flashy is the Motul giveaway. So for another 9 days, you can enter to win a $500 gift certificate to apply to any of the Motul racing products line, including their high performance, off-road, power sport, engine lubricants, transmission fluid, coolant, grease, fluids, and all them fluids. They get
How
hot.
many times
need
can
new
you sign
ones.
up? We should be
Right.
signing up a lot.
I feel
yeah.
compelled to mention that Motul is the official oil of Radwood.
Oh, well, that's
As
even
if we
better.
didn't like them enough.
Right?
Yeah.
Now we like them even
Yeah,
more.
Look at
I'm
these.
sign-
Look at these synergies. This is amazing.
I am
That's right.
signing up for a Motul giveaway right now.
We have Radwood branded 80s oil and 90s oil. It's like
Ooh.
specifically formulated for engines from that era.
I had
How
no
much
idea.
of it could I buy if Racing Junk gave me a $500 gift certificate?
Right?
Exactly.
Lots.
Well, you
That's
take
legit.
that coupon. Anyway, there's also a track prepared air cooled 911 Targa for only $24K.
Yeah, it's white. It has the bumper.
It's
it's-
beautiful.
This was my, except I wanted the hard top. This is my like 15-year-old dream.
Something's wrong here.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
too good.
That's
It's-
way too low of
It's
a price.
way too low.
I know.
I think it's because it's got a cage in it.
So
Yeah, cut it out. It doesn't matter.
Or leave it in. I don't care.
I mean, I
sure,
would leave it.
yes.
But if you were going to sell it and it was a $15,000 hit, take it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's way too low. But
It's
yeah.
definitely modified, but that is a deal and a half. If there's
with it's lowered. It has the wrong wheels on it, but that's not not
Don't
reducing that
care.
much.
no, that's a $30,000-$40,000 car.
And I'm with you,
Easy.
Jeff. I was all about the hard top until literally 3 years ago when I drove the NSX. And I'm like, nope, my air cooled 911 will be a Targa.
Mhm.
All right.
Yes.
Well, wait.
Ooh, I have something about NSXs.
Oh,
Ooh, added
do
to
you
your-
want to go now, or should I talk about iRacing?
May as well. I got to drive the first NSX ever delivered to the US.
Oh,
Oh, that's
And
cool.
it,
Oh.
Chris is
Oh.
very excited by this news.
nobody knows for
Yes.
sure, but it might have been the Wolf's car
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
from the movie. Yeah.
The silver
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
Winston Wolfe.
Yes.
that's a 30-minute drive. I'll be there in 10 minutes.
exactly. Yeah. The icon. It was phenomenal. I got to drive it for a week in Los Angeles. Took it up on Angeles Crest. Had a wonderful time with it. Apparently, it was the first one ever imported. Acura USA had it for a little while for like press events and stuff. And the Pulp Fiction car was a paid placement, but they didn't keep track of the VIN. So they're like, it probably was that one, but
Probably
we don't
was
know
it,
for
yeah.
we don't know for sure. And then it was donated to a high school for shop class.
Wow.
And it sat for 20 years outside. And right?
Sounds
What
great.
miserable high school that should obviously be shut down
Yeah.
was this?
So apparently Honda was like going through their records and they were like, hey,
we
we
still
have this-
own this.
we have this asset that I wonder if it's still around. So they went to the school, and the school was like, yeah, we still got it. And it needed a lot. Like it needed a repaint, and there was a bunch of stuff wrong with it. Obviously, it had been neglected. But they like replaced all the rubber, gave it an engine, or gave it a oil change, and it fired right up, and everything was fine.
Because
And
Honda.
It's a Honda. Yeah, exactly. And so they brought it back, and it sat at Honda for 10 years before anybody did anything with it. And then like 5 years ago, the PR department got a call, and they were like, hey, we have this NSX. Do you guys, in Acura PR, do you guys want this for anything? And they're like, yeah, obviously. So they commissioned a sort of restoration. I mean, it still has like all the wear and tear, but they repainted it and did a bunch of stuff, put new wheels and tires on it. And on modern tires, that thing's unbeatable. My review's on Jalopnik. Go read it. I won't talk anymore about it, but very good car.
That's very intense. Chris, what's your exhaust on it? Because your exhaust made it much sexier.
I
Who made it?
don't remember. I don't.
It could definitely use a little louder exhaust.
It's an
very
NSX
quiet.
specialty thing. I don't remember. I think it's like NSX Prime or something like that, which is not the website, but the
model.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it sounds great.
It was
Great.
docile, not docile sounding. It was a little too quiet before that header went on.
Yes. And now it
Did you
sounds like
really
it's
hear it
supposed to
before it went on? We bought the exhaust
No, I've seen I've listened to stock NSXs
Oh,
before.
okay.
Yeah.
three
Not
weeks
yours.
after we got
Yeah.
it.
Actually, did you buy the header before you even got it?
It's an exhaust
Close.
catback. And
Yeah.
no, I'd already had the car, but I happened to found that for sale in New York, and I had Ohms pick it up for me.
I remember that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, we went iRacing. We'll keep moving the show along here. We did mostly GT4 cars on Road America because I was preparing for the Lemons that's coming up this Friday. All the normies were there. Tyler Stank, Uncle Dave, Wartburger Thief Aaron, and a guest appearance, me. I was actually there this week.
What?
Yeah, exactly. trying to win that to survive the 25, and I'm not going to do it by losing any weight. The Lemons crew. Anyway, Tyler crushed everybody. That's really, you really need to know. The Lemons crew will complete their season on Friday the 7th at Road America. Someone want to talk racing news, or do you want me to?
Yes. So what's happening now is Lemons iRacing is just moving on to different stuff. It was a I don't want to say stopgap, but it was a bridge during the Rona when we all couldn't get to tracks. And now moving into 2022, this is their final race of the season. So it's the Gladiator doubleheader. And as they go into 2022, keep an eye on the website, but they're going to be focused on special events, the blind teammate stuff that we love so much, key parties, roller derbies, which is still one of my favorite events, mandatory team, wacky stuff. So there's going to be less serious racing, more goofball iRacing. And I don't think that our E1R league is going to reflect that, but I also wouldn't expect our E1R league to start getting serious because
No more. We do plenty of jumps and things and inappropriate cars, inappropriate tracks. So that's always fun.
Mm-hmm. But AER and Champ are still doing their serious iRacing, which I'm not bagging on them. It's just not necessarily our thing.
Chrissy's laughing because I was about to yell.
Go ahead.
Listener feedback time.
You even took the big.
I did.
And then Mitchell's like, "Oh, let me talk more." Okay, let's recover from that. Okay, on our goals episode, the Stankinator said, "My one car related goal this year is to run a race in my own car. I have done 2 arrive and drives already, and already have planned few for this year, but wanted to get the Mazda in a state that's safe to take it on track and do it." Awesome.
I posted my woes of painting the house and said, blind man on the way to Baltimore would never understand how much drywall repair is under this as a what you working on. And lots of people responded on the Instagrams. Joseph K was building a potential Breaking Bad racing Northeast rust free MX3. Tyler is like salivating as we speak. It had a dinged core support and a dent in the gas tank, but other than that, a pretty clean MX3. Imagine that.
He's going to have to figure out the parts interchange with escorts and proteges to have any chance of having any spares.
No,
So
there's
good luck.
no.
Correct.
Yeah, David E says he was reading a book by Brent Spinner and keeping his cat company on the couch. Not exactly work, but he should be organized in the garage. But that sounds like a good day. Why not?
Isn't that Data? Brent Spiner? Isn't that the
I
guy
don't
with the
know.
glasses from? Yes. I
All right, the
believe.
guy with the glasses is it Data.
Oh no. Oh no,
That's-
that's Jordy. The
yeah.
robot. I
Reading
don't
Rambo.
know.
Yeah.
Stop. Never speak of
Come on,
Star Trek
come
I
ever
don't
on,
again.
know.
Let's go.
Star Wars.
Carl A. was
Reading
starting his
Rainbow. I love that.
Carl A. was starting his New Year's resolution of less leaky vehicles with a new oil pan gasket, a rear main in his pickup.
Oh, good.
Oh.
That's good.
DJ 914, who has more air-cooled motors than Brad probably has, said that he loves the drywall pictures, and he said it reminds him of the podcast when we talk about something that's on the screen and we don't describe it at all. So he's also replacing mouse chewed
Oh, he's got
bits
mouse problems.
in his 911 and his other cars. So.
Boxster
Even-
that got it the worst.
Oh, his Boxster got it too?
No, not Boxster. Sorry,
the,
Cayman.
the Cayman,
Whatever.
the Cayman.
Yeah.
But he was daily in the Cayman. What the heck?
Yeah.
He even found a
Mouse will-
neighbor cat to try to get the mice, and
Yeah.
that helped a little, but not enough. Very sad. Cam L was working on his roll cage again. We feel you.
They can take
Sorry.
a long time.
Yep.
Mhm.
Michael K., a fellow known for his bad decisions with racing, was working on his top secret 22 Lemons project. And he has shown me, and it is a level of awesome that you absolutely expect from a guy who built Camaro powered by a 47 Plymouth Flathead 6.
Dinesh R was attempting to make one good transmission out of 4 broken ones for the protege. Totally been there.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not a fun project
Not with
either.
a
many
protege.
gears.
Yeah.
Not with a Civic, but so
The
many
Civic, yeah.
gears.
Yeah, which one's right? Why are there bearings all over the floor? Yeah, we've been there,
Uh-huh.
done that.
Oh,
Erling,
Sorry,
Erling,
my iPad's going nuts here.
Yeah, there's a mute button, Jeff. Just
Or volume button.
like
There we go,
on
go
your
ahead.
Zoom, there's that.
Go ahead.
Erling was
Yeah.
wrapping up his celebration, recovery, and easing into optimism for the new year.
Nice. Finally, Alex, our boy Alex, posted a picture of his Boxster project, and this one is terrible. If you have not seen his Facebook or Instagram, this thing is the worst Boxster I've ever seen in my life. And he said, "Oh, just stupid mischief that will finally make the my ass $500 people unhappy." It's a really bad move. He is building a Lemons Boxster, and it is
And more so, he got it from Steinkamp.
that's terrible.
There's so much failure that's going on. Like, it's-
Now, as we talked with our guest earlier this evening, inspired by a NASA thing, our guy Jaime Garcia challenged the host of 5 different automotive racing podcasts and the Survive the 25. Jeff is representing the Everyone Races podcast. The goals: lose 25 pounds, read 5 gearhead books, and 5 one-hour endurance or iRacing or karting events. Jeff, you were worried about the holidays. How are we living right now?
Absolutely baseline. So I guess that's a win for surviving the holidays. But yeah, so I have
So
not
no gain, no loss.
no gain, no loss. I'm still at 7 pounds lost, which is the time is running away because April 15th is coming fast, and I've only lost 7 pounds. But I have been on the iRacing again, and 1 book down. So I guess it's a win, but it's I got to get on my horse.
Brad, you mentioned you wanted to do some more iRacing, and you mentioned maybe reducing some of your rotating mass.
Yeah.
Hashtag survive the 25. You could we have opportunities for listeners and non-podcast or former podcast people to join in there. Right now, is it Alex or Amanda that's winning overall or something? But you could win some Everyone Racers podcast swag. And before you say no, we have Sharpies.
Oh, I could also just like send you a self-addressed stamped envelope and have you send me one. Just
Pretty probably.
That's
Yeah.
a
Pretty
way.
much.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah.
Work.
Show up
Yeah.
at a Lemons race again.
Yeah, right.
Pass through town on your way to
Or better, bring a Radwood to a town we can go to.
we're going to
We
talk
will.
about
We're gonna
that.
talk
We will.
about that shortly.
we
Hold
will.
on.
All right.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
So Jeff, you know who's a team player and helping you out in all this?
No. Who's a team player and helping me out?
Chrissy's mom. Send all those cookies to Bill. So
Let's see.
Yeah.
That's a great picture.
Yep. There you go.
Yes. Even the mighty Bill cannot resist the power of Chrissy's mom's cooking.
Bill, eat them all.
Yep.
Anyway. Well, I guess it's main topic time. In case you missed it, we've been talking to Brad all day here. We're going to talk about 2022. We're going to talk about Autotopia. We're going to talk about Radwood. We're going to talk
One
about
T. Autopia.
excuse me, Autopia.
Pronunciation has never been Jeff's fort.
No,
It's okay.
exactly. 20. I'm scanning as I read from a distance because my glasses are not on.
It's fine. Nissan sent out a press release with it spelled wrong, so
Oh.
you know, it happens. I think they called it Autoupia.
Well, we'll spell it just so everyone knows. AUTOPIA.
Yes, it's a
2099.
utopia for autos.
A utopia for autos. The mission is stated: it's a show for all cars, trucks, motorcycles, bicycles, and mobility solutions powered by electrons. Battery electric vehicles, plug-in hybrids will take a priority. Soon there might be some room for some hybrids and hydrogen fuel cell. If anybody can make one of them go, I don't know.
They exist, just nowhere but Southern California, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But before we get there, and I'm gonna bring this up, and I'm gonna share a little screen. I keep track of my weight loss. I have to flip to this screen for a second. I keep track of my weight loss with a hang on the wall calendar.
Okay.
And
or we look at Twitter or BMW.
well, yeah, I have to flip it first. Hold on a second
Okay.
here, and my calendar. Here we go.
This is good.
Okay, back to
radio.
this is terrible
the
radio.
worst.
Phenomenal
This is the
audio.
worst.
Jeff, while you
Here
while
it
you figure
comes.
this out, I just want to compliment Brad's NSX article that I've been reading while other
Oh,
people are
okay.
talking. Yeah.
So
yeah. It's
Brad, I have a 2022 Porsche calendar,
Yeah.
and January is a yellow car,
hmm
and then I got in a little closer, and it is a 912.
912E, yeah.
912E.
That looks like the same color as mine. It is not my car.
Okay, that's where because we're
That's where we're going. Is
how
this
many
you,
yellow
bro?
912s?
Exactly.
12.
Look at this.
Literally
Look at this.
12. Are
Look at
in
this.
that
I
color.
zoomed into the corner.
Fantastic.
912E coupe.
Yeah.
I said that's
There
got to
are-
be Brad's.
No, it's not. There are 12 of them in that color in the world. Of 2,099 built, 12 of them were Talbot yellow. One of them happens to belong to Tanner Faust.
Of course it does.
Of course it
Oh
does.
yeah, no, it was his dad's car.
It was
I
his
remember
dad's
that
car.
one.
He bought
Yeah.
it new. Yep.
And he's got it like in a glass elevator in his
Yep.
condo on the water.
Well, for those of you listening on the actual podcast and not looking on YouTube, it's a beautiful 912E.
It's not
in a
his. We don't
field-
care. We don't care.
In a field of
Come on.
yellow-
No, you're still talking, but we don't care because it's
All
not.
right.
If it was his, sure, but it's not.
All right.
So diss you, bro. Diss not me, bro.
Not you, bro. Okay, that's fine.
But yeah, Autopia was awesome. It went down in December. We had for a first show, it was, we didn't expect Radwood numbers. We didn't expect 1,000 cars or anything like that. We
A
got
lot
about,
less electrics out there, right? I mean,
versus 80s and 90s cars still on the road.
you're right. You'll be right.
Who knows? Probably not.
the curves are crossing as we speak.
Exactly. Yeah. They're, Tesla almost sold 1 million cars this year. So,
Well, okay.
admittedly that's worldwide, and Ford does that in pickup trucks in 2 days, but still. Yeah, it went really well. We had representation from Nissan, who was the title sponsor. I'm very gracious that they were present, and they brought a Formula E car. They brought 2 of their new electric SUV Aria prototypes, and they had a Leaf there, and they brought a plant influencer, which was pretty cool. He's a guy with a lot of following on Instagram, and he just does plant stuff. He's a farmer Nick on Instagram. Very
Okay.
cool. He did a little
yeah.
presentation on like how to repot a plant and like what plants do best and what.
I thought like power plant of like the engine of a car. And I was like,
no, plants.
I was like,
no, we're
I was
really
like,
talking about plants here.
Plants.
no,
Okay, good.
nobody
Cool.
knows he's paid. He's a plant. Like
Yes,
they
right.
snuck him in.
Right. There are many ways that the word plant can be used.
Awesome. That's great.
Led
So, yeah, he
Zeppelin
was-
fan. Yeah.
He was awesome. And then Livewire, Harley Davidson's electric motorcycle brand, was there. And they had
You've got to ride several of those.
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's the best electric bike out there right now.
Okay.
When they launched it, it was too expensive. They just lowered the price about 10 grand, which makes it a lot less expensive. And if these tax incentives come in, it could be, what is it? I think 30% of the purchase price up to $8,000 or something like that.
And you can get that on a motorcycle. I didn't even
Yeah.
realize that.
They're not yet. They're
Okay.
It's part of the Build Back Better, which hasn't passed yet.
Goddamn mansion.
I know, right?
Problem.
So, but I will say it's a very good bike, and now that they're like 20 grand, it's probably worth buying. And you can get leftover 2020s with very little miles on them for like 18 grand, and they were like 30 new. And 18, it makes a lot of sense. So all the people that bought them a year and a half ago for 31 grand lost a lot of money on them.
Wow.
They bought they were collectors. They bought them to put in a glass case and show
Yeah,
off.
right. And then so anyway, but I do recommend buying them. I know somebody who's put tens of thousands of miles on them already. They're very, very reliable. I've ridden one LA to Reno and back, which I don't recommend long distance touring on that bike because you can only get about 70 or 80 miles on a charge at highway speeds. Around town you can get around 200 miles, but
Really good book.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
The charging takes a while. It's normally a ride to LA is 9-ish hours, and it took me about a day and a half. I mean, with a stop for a hotel, obviously, but
Yeah. I'm going to LA either Friday night or Saturday, and I do not have a day and a half.
No. Well, for you, it's what, 3 hours, 4 hours?
Well, it's supposed to be 4.5, but yeah, about three.
Yeah, I was
3:45.
gonna say.
Yeah.
So Livewire had a really cool presentation there. They had coffee for everybody. It was awesome. Rivian was there. Porsche was there with 3 Taycans.
Is the Rivian real?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I know
way
it's
real.
there. I know they're delivering it, but
Yeah.
it just seems so vapor because it's so amazing.
No,
Every
it's-
time I see something.
It's very real. It's extremely real. It's
I-
like,
And I'm
it's
sorry,
maybe the best truck on the market right now.
If it's
Chrissy was muted. What did Porsche bring?
Oh, it's a Taycan.
3 Taycans.
No, it's a Taycan.
raise
Which are
your hand.
glorious.
Raise your
to
hand if
drive.
you've driven a Taycan.
I've
They are
driven one
glorious.
across the country. It was fantastic.
Oh.
I drove around a parking lot and it was awesome.
I drove it across the country on a reality television show, so that was fun.
Oh, is this a show we can see or not yet?
No, it's
All right.
it's already come and gone, and it's not available on streaming anyway. So
Oh.
When it invariably is, let us know. We'll push it.
I certainly will.
Well, everything's on Pluto TV. Can't you get like a?
Yeah, sure. It was 2 nights only in late December on NBC Sports at like 10 o'clock at night.
Which doesn't exist anymore, so nobody
Right.
even owns it, right? Yeah.
Right. Well, the production company and the company that funded it still own the rights, and they're trying to turn it into a 10-episode streaming series. It was only a 1-hour special, and it was a 10-day competition across the country. It was absolutely wild.
Was it all for
Um,
electric vehicles or? Oh,
Yep.
Nice.
Oh, fantastic.
Nice.
All right.
So, but yeah, we borrowed a Taycan rear-wheel drive with a big battery and drove that across the country. And that exact car actually was at Autopia because it was a Porsche press car, and Porsche brought 3 cars. They brought that car, which is a base model rear-wheel drive, big battery, and then they brought a Turbo S Cross Turismo, which is the lifted wagon.
Yes.
And then they had just launched the GTS Sport Turismo,
Oh.
which I've also driven, which is hands down the best car ever made.
Saw one of those on Friday in the wild.
I
God.
did. I
It's
saw
even
one a couple
prettier
weeks
in
ago.
person. God, I want one.
Amazing.
Yeah, fantastic. And then let's see, Autopia also had AEM was there with a couple of swap cars. They had an S2000 with a Tesla motor and a 05 Mustang with a Tesla motor that runs like nines.
I saw
and
there was
they-
an NSX in the pictures.
There was an NSX,
Bright
Acura.
yellow,
that
of
was,
course.
That was the Type S, which is not available for purchase yet.
Oh,
I mean, you can order it, but you're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
getting it for a couple months. So that was pretty special to have there.
I've driven them. They're amazing. I was in the track on one of them on a
Yeah.
instruction event, and it was amazing.
Yeah. One of the coolest things there was all the swaps. There was an acquaintance of mine who used to work at Jalopnik for the weekends, has swapped a 1950 Jag Mark II with a Model 3 motor. And he got that running basically just enough to make it to the show. It had like trailer lights and stuff, so it's like it's not working well, but it's working-ish. And then there was a guy who had like an absolutely perfect Chevy Corvair with an electric swap. That one, yep, gorgeous car, and that won best show. And then there was a guy with a Mini that was EV swapped, and there was an E9 BMW that had been swapped. There was a guy with an original RAV4 EV from 97. No,
Oh,
2000,
wow.
2001.
Now that would be like where you're talking about the lines are starting to cross. What was the interior on that one? I bet it was awesome.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was the swoopy lines crossed over, like abstract art kind of thing.
Neon. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
very, very cool. So yeah,
Chris wants this one.
Yes,
It's your S2000.
that thing was super rad.
I love the
Um,
wheels on that thing.
Yeah, they said they made them as kind of a joke, and then they put them on and was like, oh yeah, these rule. They've got to stay on.
Oops.
They're machined so that you can just see the brake caliper. So there's just a little window
Yep.
in the disc, and
That's pretty hot.
They're so hot. That thing ruled. So yeah, it was a really cool show. The big news is that everyone who was there that paid us money to be there said we're coming back next year.
Nice.
This is
Excellent.
fantastic. We love what you're doing. Whatever you like, literally the guy from Livewire looked at me and went, whatever you're doing next year, we're in. And I was like,
Fantastic.
cool.
There's a Jag on the Model 3 wheels.
That's the Jag. Yeah, that thing was sweet.
Right before we
Nice.
left PRI, we found the electric section, and they had an electric El Camino, an electric '69 Cadillac convertible.
That's
fantastic.
the move right there. An
Yes.
old luxury car, big old
Perfect,
convertible.
especially here in Las
Yeah,
Vegas.
this is a-
That is the
yeah.
perfect car for that.
It was great. It's a huge white with red interior,
Yeah,
slam caddy, and all you do is
That's the
just roll
move.
low and slow.
that's the
Yeah.
move.
And
And
they
it
had
ain't gonna be
the
slow anymore.
no.
Yeah, right.
And they had the global rallycross cars, which I didn't realize they were doing a whole electric
Mhm.
electric series.
Yep.
So and that's great. I'm obviously we dig electrics. None of us can afford one yet,
Hey.
or haven't purchased one yet.
Chevrolet just launched the EV of the future. The one that you didn't mention at CES was they are bringing a Trailblazer that is, or no, an Equinox, one of their crappy SUVs.
Well,
that
boring
people buy-
SUVs. Yeah.
that people literally buy a million of every day. They're making one of those 30 grand, all electric.
That's awesome.
That's
Well,
huge.
I mean, a
What
Model
is-
3. You can get a Model 3 in that area.
No,
you
you
just-
cannot.
after-
Model 3 starts at 60 now.
Really?
Yeah. Or
We were
like-
looking at them. They were
Oh,
like
no, they still have a rear wheel drive one of those. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
40,
45,
46
47,
or-
something like that. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what we were looking at for my wife.
The Y starts at like 62.
Oof.
Yeah, the
Um,
wide the build quality on that is terrible.
Yeah.
And they move units on that thing. They sell a bunch of them. I had one for a month in last December, like a little over a year ago. And it was a great car, but it was not a great car. Like, you know what I mean? Like it did everything really well. Like the UI was pretty good. It drove all right. It was quick. It was sort of fun. But I didn't love it. The quality was poor, and like the doors, the way they put together the doors, they still use pinch seams, and nobody does that anymore because like stuff gets stuck in there and then it just rots out the bottom. They stopped doing those in the 90s for a reason. Like, come on, guys. But yeah, the let's see, Model 3, they're, damn it, now I'm the one that's holding it up.
Well, and while you're
Purchase price is
digging up,
$44,900.
okay,
for
while
the
you're digging that
base
stuff
model.
up, Chrissy has a question. She's been waiting very patiently.
I want to hear about the ambulance. Tell us about the ambulance.
Yes, my ambulance. So I say last year, 2019, Honda very graciously gave us a Odyssey to drive all of the Radwood stuff around in.
That's awesome.
It was fantastic. I had that for, I mean, I probably put 60,000 miles on it in a year. It was ridiculous. I went all over the country 3 times. Because we did a ton, I think we did 9 shows, I think, in 19. Maybe 10, I'm not sure. But I drove it everywhere. And they, during early in the pandemic, they're like, hey, can we have that back? And I was like, yeah, sure. So we went without, obviously, a vehicle during the pandemic. We didn't have any shows to do, so what's the point? And then we were getting into this year, and we were looking at doing shows again. Damn it, it's 22 now. 21, we started doing shows again. We got into 21 and we started doing shows again, and it was getting closer and closer, and we didn't have any vehicle lined up. We had talked to a couple of manufacturers, but everybody was kind of like, well, there's a shortage and we don't really have anything available. So
why
then we
would
started
we promote things that we can't keep enough of?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And just the fact that like they were making so much on it that they didn't want to have one just kind of in limbo for a year.
For those watching on YouTube, my son is going for ice cream. He just he'll dive out of that door in a second. Keep going.
Ambulance.
So we needed a vehicle to haul all of our gear, and new vans were and still are insane. I mean, the prices that things are going for, if you try and get whatever,
I blame the
whatever
Overlanders.
Transit.
yeah,
I think,
anything,
I think it's all the
transit or
Overlanders.
whatever.
Yeah.
People are converting them into campers, and they're doing
tiny
all
homes.
Yeah, right.
And van life.
Van life. Yeah. And so used stuff is insane and new stuff is insane. And I was like, well, I may as well go used. And if I saw him go, if I'm gonna buy used, I'm gonna try to buy something that gets decent fuel mileage, because I got to drive all over the country and everything. So I didn't really want. I needed something that would haul a bunch of gear, because we keep growing and we keep selling a bunch of T-shirts, which is a good problem to have.
I think we all have like 4 of them.
But T-shirts are heavy. Like, I didn't realize how friggin' heavy they are. We literally wore out a set of tires on the Odyssey because the back of the van was so heavy that it was pressing down and wearing out the insides of the tires. And I literally wore them down so far that they blew out. Because the outside still had tread, and the insides were worn like empty.
Your money's worth.
Yeah, right. So don't tell Honda. But anyway. So I was like, well, I need something heavy duty. I need something that'll haul a lot of weight. But I don't want like a V10 or a big gas V8, because I don't want to get 6 miles a gallon going across the country. So I was like,
You've
well,
seen my RV. That's exactly what it does.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was like, well, I'll start looking at diesels. And of course, diesels, if you want a truck, it's 40 grand. If you want a work van, it's 30 grand. But
on the truck, you do get a Toby Keith CD and a Brian Church CD.
Right, that's true. And your choice of soda bottle with skull spit in the bottom. And
sticky change.
yes, of course.
Everything comes with
Lots
sticky
of sticky
change.
change.
But it's sticky change with chew on it. You don't want that. Jaw spit.
So then I was like, well, maybe I could get something municipal for cheap. And I started looking at, nobody wants a 6-liter diesel. But 6-liter diesel pickup trucks are still 30 grand and vans are still 20 grand. It's like, I don't really want to spend 20 grand. So I found this one for 11, a decommissioned ambulance with like 400,000 miles on it.
Oh
Nice.
my goodness.
Now, is it a big van kind, or is it the box on the back
It is.
of the van?
I specifically got the big van kind.
Cutaway
Tall-
van, yeah.
Tall van.
Yeah.
It's not a cutaway.
Oh, it's not a cutaway. It's van body.
It's a
straight up van.
Van body with a raised roof. And it's got all the cabinets and stuff, and it's got a bench
Yes.
seat and all that.
Does it have the gurney? Can you like
I do have
push
the
your
gurney.
friends
I,
around?
Oh, shut up.
I do have a gurney.
Or you use that to transport all your shirts.
I do.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Who
I
needs
actually-
Raise it up, bam, it's a table.
So I don't bring it with me. I actually just use it to bring stuff from the storage to the van, and then I use it
great.
as like a dolly. But yeah.
That's like,
So yeah, it has served amazingly. I bought it for 11 grand. The air conditioning wasn't working and it needed a turbo. So I did an oil change. I did transmission service. That was like $350 to DIY, which sucks, but because
oil by
it's-
the bucket.
it's literally I bought a 5-gallon
Yeah,
oil. And the transmission took, I think, 9 quarts. So yeah, it's a lot.
The transmission weighs as much as your Nissan Leaf.
Yes, fact. Yeah, that's true. So they have their issues, the 6 liters, especially in the vans, because the engine is like partly in the cabin. So there's heat issues with like the valley. There's EGR stuff that gets hot and cracks and whatever. So I did some of the preventative maintenance stuff on that, replaced the turbo, and put new wheels and tires on it, and took out the partition wall behind the passenger seat so that I could see through the rearview mirror mostly.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it gave me some more room for t-shirt boxes and stuff like that. And then the air conditioning, I took it to an AC place to have it fixed, and they're like, oh, everything's fine. All we had to do was blow out the condenser, because there was so much crap in the condenser that it wasn't allowing any air to
because
cool
it
the
lived
fins.
under a tree for the last like how many years?
Who knows? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
With the AC running.
That's it. That is a good and proper air conditioning repair place. Good on
Yeah,
them, because they could
yeah.
have like totally like soaked you for some money.
Well, I'm sure they went looking for a leak and didn't find anything. So
Yeah, but they could have lied.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, we
that's
had
true.
to-
Yeah.
We had to recharge it and patch up a leak. It's gonna be
Yeah.
$700. Yeah,
Yeah,
good on them.
right. Yeah, they just charged me like $40 for
And it only has a single air conditioner, not the double.
it. Does have a double.
It does have a double. Okay.
I don't know if the rear one's working. I've never actually tried it. But anyway,
Do you have anybody sitting back there?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, but it's all one
Just
big
gear.
box.
yeah, it is all
Yeah.
one big box.
Yeah,
But
right.
yeah. But I've driven it across the country. I actually towed a car with it. So the reason I got the tall van rather than the box one is because
So
the
you can
boxes-
transcon it.
The boxes weigh so much.
Yeah.
The boxes weigh so much that you can't actually tow with them.
Ah,
okay.
So even with a dually, all right, that makes sense. Did
Mine's
your
not a dual.
research?
Not a
Smart
dual.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
I
but
didn't
you
want
can.
a dually. I didn't want it to be that wide, and I wanted to haul bikes and cars with it. So it's a Super Duty, tows 10,000 pounds. I can haul freaking anything with that.
And you can
Um,
paint it like the Transcon van and cannonball it across the country.
I mean, theoretically. Why
Well,
wouldn't you? Yeah.
We'll talk. We'll talk offline. It's
Yeah,
great.
right.
Well,
But
there has to be Ed Bullion has to have a class for ambulances. We'll
right.
figure it out.
And the first thing I towed with it was a Lemons car. I went,
Of course.
yeah, of course.
one?
Jalopniks.
Oh, the eyesore.
No.
No. I'm sorry. That's donut. Which no.
Let him answer the question, Matt. How about that? You
I
don't
should
have
know
to
this card.
guess.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. Answer the question. Yeah.
So Rory Carroll is our editor in chief.
Yeah.
And he used to race a Lada, a red Lada with
I
a
saw
communism.
when we
theme on
picked
it.
up the Wartburg at Mid Ohio many years ago. The Lada was there, so we actually have pictures of the Wartburg and the Lada, because when do you do that?
Right.
Yeah.
So that was actually someone had crashed it and it had been on fire at some point, and it got shifted to.
It's okay. No, it's
He's
fire's
fine. He's
out
fine.
now.
He's
No problem.
fine. He's, you know,
That's fine.
put
Do
it
you
in
have
age.
do you have bolt for 70 for 79 Maxima?
So it ended up living with Camille Kaliski for a few years, and he never really did anything with it, so it's just sitting around. And when
He's in Boston now, isn't he?
he is in Boston.
Yeah.
So I was in Chicago, and Rory was, I write for Jalopnik, so I was in the Slack, and he was talking about how he was going to get it back, and I was like, well, what's the plan? How are you going to get to Boston and get this car back? And he goes, well, I'm gonna fly in, and I'm gonna fly into New York and get a press car, and then drive down and get it, and then I'll have to return the car to New York, so I'll have to drive all the way back to New York to drop the car off and then fly home. And I was like, why would you do that?
Oh, this folks, if you're worried about automotive journalists living the high life, these are the exact same conversations we have all the time about trying to get rust-free Z34s to Philadelphia.
So what I did was, I was like, well, I'll be
great.
in Chicago for a Radwood. Chicago's not that far from Boston.
No, they're right next to each other.
About
Right?
1,000 miles.
Next
It's fine.
state.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
yeah.
Oh,
Well, you're
It's
still
within
big
it's
square
within
states.
Lemon's rally distance.
Yeah,
It's only like
Oh.
2 time zones.
right. So it's one time zone, but yes.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll go get it if you cover, fuel and whatever. Fuel and food was what I said. And tolls, obviously, because everything over there is freaking toll roads.
God, I hate the
Um,
Northeast.
So Radwood ended. I picked up a U-Haul trailer, went and got it, and then delivered it to Rory, who is now in freaking Traverse City, Michigan. Which, if for people who don't know, is way the flip up here.
Yeah,
Oh.
Michigan is at
Yeah.
that's
top of the
By
With
the
the
way,
fingers.
I would have loved to seen that U-Haul conversation. What kind of vehicle are you towing? What kind of
I don't-
vehicle are you towing?
I don't even remember what I put. I think I put like an 83 Toyota pickup or something like that.
That's
Whatever.
but yeah, mine is always I'm towing with a Super Duty and I'm towing an 84 Honda CRX HF. That's
Nice.
always the answer.
And then overkill. So I got there at like midnight, and I got to Boston at like midnight from Chicago, and obviously there was nobody there at the shop, so I said, just leave the car outside, nobody's gonna steal it, it'll be fine. So
it's
The
so it's always the last
the
words. It'll
worst
be
car
fine.
It is
these
the
ever.
worst.
Dude, it's a Lada.
Yeah.
Go get my Slim Jim now.
it's a Lada that's been on fire and doesn't run. Yeah, somebody's gonna
That doesn't
steal
narrow it down that much.
right. So and of course the trailer doesn't have a winch, and I didn't bring a come along, so I was using
course not.
ratchets. I was using ratchet straps,
Done it. Been there.
Okay.
Yeah.
To
It's
go,
not,
like-
it's not the worst.
like 8 inches at a time, and then I would move the chuck from the
Yeah.
rear tire
Yeah,
Yeah.
to
yeah.
keep it from going backward, and then I would undo the strap and then
See,
so
here's a tip for all of you out there, and for the next time you have to do this, Brad. 2 ratchet straps. You do one on one side,
yeah. No, that's a
and
good
then
point.
you tighten
That's
the
a
other
good
one,
point.
and then you loosen this and pull it through, and then
I
you
was-
can do this one again.
In my defense, I was very limited on viable tow points in a Lada
That
Sure.
had been on
Um,
fire.
that had been on fire.
It lived in Michigan.
But so that's where I am with the ambulance. It's a great vehicle. It runs fantastic. I actually have it in the driveway here at my mother-in-law's house. So I drove it again across the country with all of our stuff in it.
What does it look like? Does it have words on the side? Does
It
it
does
have
not
a
have
light
words. It
bar?
is green on the bottom.
Okay.
It is white on the top, and it has a purple heartbeat graphic in
Oh,
between
nice.
them. It is very interesting. It looks very 90s. It's a 2008. And I keep threatening to do a backdate on the front end to make it look like a 90s van. And then I actually want to hire a tagger to spray paint something
Yeah.
very
Can you still
90s
see
on it.
that it used to say, St. Marcia's General Hospital on it?
Can't. It doesn't have any words or anything like that. I think it was one big sticker
Oh, okay.
rather than individual
Good.
letters.
Yeah.
So with the ambulance is with you now,
Yeah,
you're not that far from Eddie Didorowski
I do know that. Yes.
and the whole Detroit. He might know some people that can
Hey,
paint giant block objects.
that
Vehicles.
is
You're probably right.
a very good point. That is a very good point. I should send him a DM. Yeah, he's
Yes.
not too
All
far.
right. So, and we're talking about the Detroit Bus Company and the Detroit student racing team, which I've mentioned 1,000 times is my favorite Lemonade
Yeah.
racing team.
Yeah,
Well, and
and
that's how he decorates his vehicles
Yes.
with street artists. So
Yes, correct. So yeah,
Cool.
Boxster project hasn't really made any moves. I cut the windshield off last spring,
As one does.
as one
Okay.
does.
Yeah.
it's gonna be a speedster.
Yeah, it's going to be a monoposto, so just one seat, and then the batteries will be where the passenger was.
Oh, yeah.
So for those of you not familiar, and actually I've part of the downside of talking to people at Autopia is they're actually more talented and better at this stuff than me.
Yeah, I was gonna
And so
say
they-
that had to be like soul crushing
They
when you
put
see all of
ideas-
theirs.
They put ideas in my head that are expensive and extremely cool. So the original idea was stock 2.5 manual transmission Boxster, 3 pedals, the whole deal. Very fun car to drive with a Nissan Leaf motor powering the front axles, which, obviously Boxster doesn't have axles, but you put Carrera 4 front uprights and axles, and you make custom axles, and then you mate that to a Nissan Leaf motor and run it on a standalone, which does exist and you can do.
Dual
then
powered, keeping
dual-
the 2.5.
Yes,
the hybrid.
Yes, hybrid, over the road hybrid, series hybrid, and it would allow me to charge the car, so I could theoretically drive it on EV power only, and if I wanted to, I could drive it on gasoline. And then the idea kind of morphed into a track only project. And in talking to AEM, who has some standalone motor controllers for EVs, they're working on one for Tesla's small motor, which would probably be better for my purposes because, one, it's a little more powerful, and two, their motor controller is a little more fine skilled than some of the standalone stuff that exists for Leaf motors and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the Leaf motor is like the bottom of the barrel of the EV world.
It's nobody's really doing anything with it, unfortunately, which kind of sucks. Anyway, so they were like, you should do a Tesla motor in the front. It'll do like 450 horsepower to the front wheels. And I was like, that's great, but the gas motor is only 200. I'm going to need more power.
Of course you are. Yes.
That would be unbalanced. I can't do that.
So in theory, I would like to swap the differential around in a 6-speed transmission for a 996 turbo motor and put that in the back. And, theoretically pump the power up a little bigger turbos and that kind of stuff. So we're talking 11 to 1200 all-wheel horsepower in a 2,900 pound package.
Yeah, this is called Project Creep.
Yeah,
no, that all happens.
Yep.
And I I want to talk to you offline about some of the parts because I acquired a pair of 914s since the last time we've talked.
Okay.
They're fantastic 914s.
And a pair of
Oh.
928s too. Well, down to
No,
one.
no. I'm down. I'm yeah.
Oh no.
That's
Oh,
you want
you
to talk
did
about
have
them.
two.
You had
yeah,
them.
I did have two. You want to talk about sticky change? Go after a car with a saw call and see how much falls into your driveway. But yeah, that's great. We could do like a whole 2-part episode on this, which would be amazing. We need to stop having you on once a year, so to have you more often.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Text me more often.
facts. I'm gonna steal Jeff's question,
Go ahead.
but let's talk about the Autopia 2099. We've been to the website. Obviously, you've
Yep.
got some. What are you allowed to talk about some of the shows? I know
Yeah.
you want to radwood it up and get that thing national.
Long term, yes. I think in the short term, the show really can only exist in California. There are some other cities that we could possibly do if we had the support. I could see Atlanta, for example, with the support from Mercedes-Benz or Porsche or various
Both.
other people
Yeah.
in the Southeast. I could see a Portland or a Seattle,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Pot-
Pacific Northwest.
potentially a Detroit. Right now, our biggest benefactor is Nissan. They're the title sponsor of everything, so we're kind of doing what they want to do. I mean, we're doing what we want to do, but we're doing it with their money, which is really nice. And, but they probably have no reason to go to Detroit because
No.
most of the people who drive EVs there work for the big three. And they probably have no reason to go to Atlanta because most of the people who drive EVs there, well, I mean, there's a big Tesla community there, so they could maybe do some. But anyway,
your OEMs, it's Germans.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So right now, we did our first show in LA, and we're going to go back to LA, and we're expanding northward to San Francisco. So we're doing one show in the Bay Area in June, and we're doing one show in Los Angeles in December. And we have confirmed that Nissan and Zero Motorcycles and Livewire and AEM at a minimum will be there.
That's awesome.
Well,
they
and
were
obviously
all-
Nissan, right?
and Nissan, yes. And they were all there at our LA show. And they all said, whatever you're doing next year, we're in. So they're all in on the June show and the December show. And then we're working on a few others that I'm pretty excited about, but don't have contracts with. So I'm not.
Yeah. Isn't EV West from the Bay Area?
No, they're
San Diego.
San
Oh, they're-
Diego.
oh, okay. Wrong
Yeah.
side of the state.
Yep. They were supposed to come, but they had some issues with transport on a car, so they couldn't get there. They had other stuff. It's a very California thing that people promise they'll show up and then just don't.
Just flake.
So-
There was an
I
EV
flaked,
West
man.
converted. There was an EV West converted bus at the Sonoma race that they brought up, immaculately restored, period
Yeah.
correct, except all the lights were LEDs and it was completely electric. And we had them on last year towards the end of the show. John Pagel drove that thing around, and
cool.
Oh my God, it was
The
just
work that they
everything
do is
about it was
fantastic.
fantastic. It was awesome.
I've been down to their shop a couple of times. I know the guy that owns the place. They do amazing work.
Yeah.
And if I had the money, I would just drop a thing off there and say, do whatever you're going to do. And I'll pick it up in 6 months.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our friend with the 914s, we keep telling him that is the way to go.
Yeah.
Not you, DJ 914. Yes, mental. You need to just get yours running.
They need
It doesn't
engines
even
and
have an engine.
transmissions. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those aren't cheap these days, unfortunately. Type 4s are expensive. My rebuild on my 912E was 12 grand.
Oh,
Steph sent me her mechanic guy sent me he for free. I paid to have the 411 motor shipped out here. So I've got a motor
Oh.
sitting on a stand that needs a rebuild.
Her
I
old
need it.
motor?
yeah, from the 411 that Corey Dickman built.
I was going to say it's going
all
to need a lot.
incestuous. Yeah,
It's going to need a lot. That thing was not running well last time I saw it.
No,
But-
no, and Corey Dickman gave it away. There's your standard. Corey
Yeah.
Dickman said, "I could fix this, or give it away."
Yeah.
What motor is that? I don't even aware. I mean, no, it's
Type
four.
four.
It's a pancake.
It's a Type 4.
but
Type
Yeah,
pancake.
yeah.
No, it's the Type 4. I didn't know if it was something interesting.
nah.
No, Type 4, it was what? Buses.
The square back wagons.
Yeah.
Yep. And 912Es and 914s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. The 914 and
It's the
912E
Good
got
one.
It's the
Yeah,
good
right.
one. Yeah.
they got special Bosch fuel injection, so the fuel injection is a little more sophisticated than the junk that was. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Carved. That's I mean.
Oh,
that's-
yours is carved.
Everything I've got, it's gonna be carved. But anyway,
Yeah. So that's the weird thing is they are not great when they're carved.
they're not
They
great
go
when they're
from-
injected.
Mine runs great and it gets about 34 miles to the gallon highway. If you go carbureted, it gets like 18.
It's gonna be it's a vintage race car. So
Yeah,
like,
sure. Yeah.
yeah,
It'll be fun.
all of like 70 horsepower.
So yeah, Autopia is cool. It's growing. Big stuff next year. I'm really excited. We had a little meeting before this that talking about next year. So I'm excited.
Awesome. And it looks like you're getting really good press out of it too. I mean, it's
Wow.
being covered by everybody who's important, right?
Yeah, ideally, yeah. We were in Forbes, which is
That's the
cool.
one I was reading was the Forbes article.
Yeah.
So
We had people from Road and Track were there. Obviously, the people who run the show, myself included, are all automotive media. So we had kind of our own. We were playing home court advantage to that a little bit, and we know a lot of good people in the industry. So, and then obviously Nissan invited a bunch of social media influencers and stuff like that. So hopefully it got some good coverage and hopefully people saw it.
and some of them
then
brought
of course I'm going to
plants.
be on great shows like E1R
yeah, exactly.
to tell everybody that they should go. It's all electric, all hybrid, all plug-in, all hydrogen, anything that, and I'm talking from like RC cars and slot cars up to supercars, like everything in between. If it runs on electrons, I want it there.
When we were at PRI, we got to sample the Bird and Lime scooters,
Yes.
both versions, and
Yeah.
annoyingly
win.
fun and also highly dangerous.
Super dangerous.
Oh, we should have died.
Yeah. Incredibly dangerous.
And we didn't even fall or anything. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a
Yeah.
good time though.
Did anyone actually bring like a Mirai? That's the only like hydrogen thing that's out there, right?
We have not had there are that's the only one that's available now, but Honda had the not Insight. What was the other one? Honda had a hydrogen one for a minute.
Clarity.
Clarity.
Clarity,
That's
yeah.
right.
That they quit making this year.
Yes, they stopped
Yeah.
making it. Yeah, they had the Clarity. They no longer make. I know that it's next on the list, but Radwood in SoCal was at Honda's headquarters, and in one of their parking lots, they had an entire row of pre-production Clarities and Fit EVs, and I was like, "Oh my god!" This
That's
is
actually pretty
amazing.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let me see. I'm trying to think what we've had in our stable that was electric. We've had the Jazzy. I have
The jet ski.
the jet ski that was electric. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
The
Death-
jet ski.
Yep.
Nobody died.
Oh, I came close. It nearly
no.
ate my foot.
It
Yes,
nearly
because there's
killed
no
many
brakes.
people.
You just had to stick your
You
foot
just
in
step on the
tire.
wheel.
Yeah.
That was the brake.
It's fine.
Oh gosh.
Well,
I have to.
back to Radwood. Like you broke that subject. What I saw on the website, Philly is listed as a likely to be coming in the future. So I'm
Yes.
excited about that.
Yes. I don't have anything to announce,
Yeah.
but that is in the plan. We need to get a Philly / Boston / number of things on the schedule. I know right now a lot of the problem is scheduling venues. That was an issue we had last year
Yeah.
about getting back to that area, and also like especially last year we were worried about flying and things like that. we did ultimately fly to a few places. I didn't. I drove because I drove the ambulance full of all of our gear.
Mhm.
But we do ideally want to get back to Philly this year. That is our number one goal, and we have a venue in mind. It's just a matter of figuring out logistics and getting a date, and putting
They've
it,
gotta
getting contracts signed and all of that. So I don't want to say it is going to happen, but it's going to happen.
Nice.
He's got an
I gotta do something
awesome.
with this 84 Corvette I've got.
There
I
it
mean,
is.
that's just
Yeah.
something better to
Yes,
do.
and clothes to
Doug-
go with it. Your
Doug
shorts.
Nash. It's a Doug Nash.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, one of the only cars in the world to go from a 4-speed to a 6-speed without ever having a 5-speed.
For serious.
Yeah. It's not a good car, but it
It's
looks
not good. Hey, it
You're-
looks
they're
pretty
fun,
nice.
Yours
They're
is a
fun.
good one, if there are good ones. Yours is
and
in pretty
that's
good shape.
that's sad because it's very underwhelming, but it's funny. Like everything about it is funny because it's so 80s. I mean, the dash, the stupid transmission, like the wheels that are like, I won't replace them with 17s because they're just too cool. The original wheels. And yeah.
When you bring it
So-
to the very local car show at the local high school and you park it next to your NSX, more people legit go look at the Corvette.
Of course,
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
come
obviously.
on.
it's got a
And-
bow tie on it.
Rural
it's-
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
why.
victory. It's
Yeah.
victory red, so it's the right color, right?
As
So is the
opposed to the
NSX.
NSX. Yeah.
Is
No,
that
I
next
mean
to-
Well.
a red Corvette is like
some kind of foreign car. Don't care.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly right.
Oh well.
well,
Good, we're
if you
looking forward
come
to that.
east, you know we will be there. We'll
You'll be there.
probably
Force.
probably do a live
Yeah.
show,
We'll be
whatever
there.
you
You'll be
need.
there.
Yeah.
I, like I said, I don't want to make promises, but we're like pretty much there. So Austin is the only one that is like set in stone going to happen. We've got the venue, we've got everything locked. It's just a matter of making it happen. And there are, like I said at the top of the show, there are some things that I can't really talk about, but some really big news with Radwood this year. So
Nice.
keep an eye out.
How about Rad
Yeah,
for
cool.
Sale? Everything going on right there? We've
Yeah, we're in the middle of doing a relaunch. Part of the issue with that was the people who designed the site designed in a lot of flaws. So,
Oh, good.
so we kind of had to take things down and restart, not from scratch, but we had to like repopulate the site with all of the data that it needed to run correctly and not break every 4 minutes. So, yeah,
I mean, this is a still a hot time for all of the buying and selling.
absolutely,
So
yeah, absolutely.
getting that back relaunched.
Yeah, and we've got
And Bid
three.
Nerds is coming back. So
What's that?
Bid
Oh
Nerds is
yes,
coming back.
yeah. I
so-
talked to John about that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm excited. Or not John. I saw Deeb at
Excellent.
it was on Coastal Range Rally. I was on a vintage car rally. I was the only idiot there on a motorcycle.
Ooh,
And,
Chris, on Rad for Sale right now. You know you need it.
Oh, that's
80
already sold.
Chevrolet hat.
But yes,
Oh.
but yes,
All right,
we do occasionally sell things like clothing. That Heartbeat of America hat was very dope. Yeah, so I saw Deeb and he mentioned that they were bringing that back. I'm excited. I was a frequent guest on that show.
That was Chrissy. Well, not frequent,
Well,
but yeah.
Once.
I
She
think
crushed it, by the way. I kept track.
Uh,
I kept track of all her predictions. She nailed it.
nice.
I didn't.
I was that was always the best part of doing it, was the next day I would see what things sold for and then text both of them and be like, hey, I was right about this.
I was right.
Mine was a
Yes.
problem was when I was on, then they went to a local show. They were not
Oh,
local.
so you're
They-
right. Yeah.
They
went-
didn't
they
talk
went to
about mine
Radwood.
until was it Radwood?
Yeah, like the next day they all left and
Yeah.
went out to the Frisco Radwood.
So they were traveling and they were there and then they were traveling and then there was like a week later that they had to do my show. So yes, I had to wait patiently.
Nice.
Yep.
So yeah, Radwood's coming back in a big way. We did 4 shows in 21 after only 1 in 20. And they all went really well. SoCal was amazing, off the hook. It was probably our biggest show ever. 650 cars, like
Wow.
4,000 people.
Oof.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
That's awesome.
Crazy.
What kind of
great.
venue was that in?
It was at Honda North
Oh,
America.
this is the one that was at Honda. Okay.
Yeah, it was at Honda. It was in where the hell are they located?
Torrance.
Torrance. That's right, Torrance.
Yeah.
I was going to say Anaheim, but that was where we had our first show in LA.
Okay.
I don't know LA
right.
that well.
Jeff's not taking the hint, so I'm going to ask Las Vegas, because JP's got the spot out here, man. It's where we do the Cars and Cafe, right in the downtown arts district.
He was trying to pitch that to me when we did the show, and I wish we had listened to him. I wish that we had gone and checked it out, because the one that we did at the convention center did not go very well. And I'm about it, but I think the partners kind of got turned off by that one bad show. Part of the issue with surviving the COVID times is that things are a little lean. So we're doing fine now, especially now that we've done 4 amazing shows. But it was kind of like we had to start over. We had to start from scratch almost. And so we were like, well, if we're going to do shows, we have to do shows that we know people are going to show up for.
You got to hit the home runs every time.
You could do a Radwood Light. Just crash at my place. Bring the Radulance.
Yep.
And dude, we'll roll up down there. And
I don't know if there's room in front of your house.
You could take the 928. Oh no, you can't, because it won't get there.
Doesn't run. I can tow it.
it'll run by then.
Oh, good. Yeah. Huh? Yes.
All I have to say is, who's the U-boat commander?
That's right.
Joke.
That car from that movie recently sold for like a lot of money. I don't remember what it was.
Gazillions.
It was stupid.
It was an absurd amount of money.
Yeah. Which I'm really happy I bought mine right before that happened.
If yours was
I saw on the interweb that one of these went for $1 million.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yours has been on fire, sir. Anyway, this is fantastic. It sounds like you have an incredibly full schedule. It sounds like you are, except for this 9 days you're going to spend in the Upper Peninsula or wherever the hell you're going.
Yeah.
When should we start going to the websites and start looking for new content? When are we announcing? Next week? Next month? Next 3 months?
Things kind of trickle out. Venues will be announced as the contracts are signed.
Got it.
So we usually we don't have like this is what we're doing this year. What we kind of do is we announce stuff maybe 2 to 3 months before it happens.
Got it.
So I would say
if only there was an Instagram handle or something that somebody could follow.
Yes, yeah. I would say for an East Coast show, we usually do those later in the year. So I would say this summer kind of check for those announcements. But yeah, go to Radwood Official on the Instagram or the Twitter machine. And we also have a big Facebook presence. If you're still on that, I'm not. Yeah.
Cool.
You need a TikTok. Where's your TikTok?
TikTok didn't exist in the 90s. So.
Neither did most of these things.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I think anyone who remembers the 90s is too old for TikTok.
You hear that, Jeff?
I'm feeling attacked right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oops.
My wife's on it all the time. She's on the other side of this wall. She probably heard me.
Probably, yeah.
Anyway.
That's awesome. Any other instas or anything else you want to push here?
We do have the link. Yeah, we've got the link to your Insta, your Twitter. The Autopia Insta and Twitter is also linked in our notes.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
You
I'm
can
BC
say that
Brownell
too.
on Twitter, and I'm plug-in Hi Brad on Instagram.
Hi, Brad.
It was plug-in Brad for a while, was it?
No,
Hi, Brad.
it's Hi Brad because it's
Hi,
planned on
Brad?
plug-in
Okay.
hybrid.
Okay, got it.
So HYBRAD.
Look, I followed you when it was still Turbo, Brad. So
Oh man, yeah, that
Oh, OG.
was OG. I actually I changed it and then like 6 months later deleted my account, so I had to start fresh.
Oh.
So I no longer have that, but I still have the handle because nobody else took it. Because why would they?
why would they? Yeah, exactly.
I am the one and only plug-in hybrid.
So that's
Excellent.
fantastic.
Yep.
Anything else you want to plug before we move on?
So many things. I'm on jalopnik.com every night of the week. Flat6s.com is my Porsche website. I run that.
Oh, I forgot that you were doing flat sixes.
Yeah. And probably a bunch of stuff coming up, but I don't want to.
Well, whatever you want to give us, we'll put in
Yep.
the links. We'll make sure
You got
everybody can see it all. Anybody have any last moments before we move on to Just a Tip, starring Chrissy?
Wow. That was quick.
Sorry.
I'll just do it for myself. Okay. Tonight we are talking about the winter weather prep. So you must have, unless you're living under a rock, you have heard about this.
Or on the West Coast where they probably don't care.
Oh no,
about
you've
things.
heard about this because it was on everything.
I said the only reason you haven't heard about this is you're still stuck on I-95.
That's true.
Maybe
yeah.
so. We're talking about the I-95 in Virginia this week. You must have heard of it. It's all been all over the news. Hundreds of people were trapped on I-95 for 25 plus hours. Some of them slid off the road because of the snow. Some of them ran out of gas. So they suffered. Doesn't mean that you need to. Let's hope you never get in that situation. But if you do, you will hopefully be prepared. So a couple of things that you should be doing right now. This is not even just if you're on the East Coast and have snow. I think there's a lot of value into some of these things even if you're not on the West Coast, because you never know when your car might break down. But anyway, make sure you have an emergency kit for times when you're going to be stranded, and you're going to pick things that can't freeze, that they won't explode, go bad, something like that. I mean, even if it's a granola bar, you can eat it, even if it's not very good, but at least you'll be happy that you had one. Also a first aid kit. They come in all sizes, have a couple of Band-Aids. It's not necessarily for this, but as you're going through the things in your car, put a first aid kit in it too. It doesn't hurt. I needed one time. I was a Girl Scout leader, and somebody got their finger stuck in a car door, and I needed the first aid kit. So you should.
Hopefully, it was a
right?
Tesla with the big gaps.
It was not, but yes. So it's a good idea anyway. Throw an old blanket in your trunk. Hopefully, you're never going to need it, but there's a whole lot of people on I-95 that wish that they had one. So yes, it could be a thermo blanket. We've got some for our emergency prepared Christmas that we had a couple of years ago, but I got one from work that kind of rolls a blanket that kind of rolls up and is in a nice little packet. Fits great in the back of our car. Consider a collapsible shovel, because you never know that you might need to shovel yourself out. I have one of those as well. And if you're traveling in questionable weather, think of these poor people, right? If you're running low on gas, especially if already snowing, you never know what's going to happen when you get on the road. If you're low on gas, go get some before you get on the highway. Questioning your jacket, just bring it. So hopefully you're never like that, but
I'm
think
like
about
a
it now.
dad. I have like 7 jackets in the back of my car at all times because I travel with scouts. If you put like 15 10-year-olds to 13-year-olds in a gathering together, half of them have forgotten their jacket. So having 3 extra in the car is always worth it. Chrissy knows what I'm talking about.
Yep, I do.
All
Don't
right. This has been a great show. Brad, thanks for coming out. Thanks
Seriously,
for
Brad, thank you.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
We definitely got to get you on more often so we
I
can cover.
really like to talk
one
about myself. So
That's what you're here for. It's
Happy to be
awesome.
here.
We'll have to get you in when Mental's off or something.
Mental was a lot less drunk this time. That's
He was
that's
way
a-
less
Lot less
way
drunk.
less drunk. That's right.
I know this because I remember the end of the show now. Yeah.
Well, and I noticed that our new podcast host sucked over all the old episodes, so you can still listen to Drunk Chrissy or Drunk Mental or our live shows from PRI or any of those other things. Anyway, do we have any idea what we're covering next week?
We do. We're going to talk about brakes because, I learned a bunch of stuff at PRI about brakes, and we're going to go nerdy and deep dive into all that stuff that we learned, how they work, failures that you probably didn't know about, ways to fix those, how to make yours better, how just to see if yours are as bad as you think they are or worse. So more to come.
Wow. Brakes. Don't break or break
Yeah.
more. I don't know.
My favorite topic is brakes. I could get so nerdy about them, but I look forward to listening to you guys get nerdy about them.
Or come
Excellent.
in next week. Who knows?
Great.
You're welcome anytime. Thanks for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also ask you to join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. If you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, whatever you can, and chat with us down there in the doodly-doo. Thank you, Mental. Keep doing that because you're right in the right corner. You can shop a show idea or a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers. Email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. You can text Mental. Send him pictures of your junk. 484-243-0455. Find us on Instagram or Twitter at everyone.racers, YouTube, Facebook, Everyone Racers, Reddit /E1R.
And Jeff, you have a Twitter, or rather a TikTok, that is also Everyone Racers.
That's right. I forgot about that. I should push the TikTok more often. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless you're the 912E in the top of my January calendar, then both sides are probably shiny, and just keep those wheels down.